Hello everyone, welcome to the Dyson boys. My baby brother is out and about, and I said to myself, hey, the show must go on. So I'm flying solo today without my baby brother. All right, let's get to it. Bruce Ohr. Wow. Hey Bruce, did you lie to Congress when you said that you didn't have anything to do with the Trump-Russia probe that the FBI was conducting, that they started on July 31st of 2016, Operation Hurricane as it was called? Did you lie to Congress when you said you didn't have anything to do with the probe until after Thanksgiving of 2016? Now, the probe officially opened on July 31st of 2016. So did you lie? Did you perjure yourself? Interesting to find out whether or not you're going to be brought up on charges of lying to Congress, because we've seen what happens to people when they lie to FBI agents or they lie to Congress. Paul Manafort's a good example of that. All right. So, November of 2016, that's when Bruce Ohr says him and Christopher Steele corroborated it, saying, yeah, Bruce Ohr didn't have anything to do with the probe. He wasn't directly involved in the probe until after Thanksgiving of 2016. Well, let's go back in history a little bit. Back in history. Now, it's been discovered. I need to get rid of something here. It's been discovered that from Bruce Ohr himself that he was all over this probe as early as July. As a matter of fact, the reason the probe started in the first place is because of information that Bruce Ohr was feeding to the FBI. We'll lay all that out as we go along. Here's what happened. Anybody familiar with the name George Papadopoulos? George Papadopoulos. He was on the Trump campaign. As a matter of fact, he was a foreign policy aide. A Russian Australian diplomat put out information to the FBI that George Papadopoulos may have prior knowledge that Russia had derogatory information it planned to release on Hillary Clinton. So this is what the Australian diplomat said. George Papadopoulos may have prior knowledge that the Russians got some dirt on Hillary, and they're going to release it. FBI, they look into it. So it's like, hold on, wait a minute. If the Russians have some dirt on Hillary Clinton, then we can't let that happen. We cannot allow George Papadopoulos to make contact with these Russians in Moscow so that he could get this dirt on Hillary Clinton. Jim Comey, Andrew McCabe, Rob Rosenstein, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Christopher Steele. No, man, we can't let that happen, because we don't want Trump to become president. Because Trump's already in campaign mode here, because he announced his run for president back in 2015. We're up in 2016 now. So there's no way they want Trump, especially Christopher Steele. There's no way we want Trump to be elected president. So they do this probe on Papadopoulos. Come up with nothing. Nothing. So this doesn't work. This doesn't work. As a matter of fact, here's what it says. Agents feared that Papadopoulos might be looking to create contacts in Moscow to gain access to that Clinton dirt. Can't let that happen. But multiple sources tell me the FBI soon received information now considered highly classified. Now, I'm getting this off the Hill. The reporter that wrote this article, John Solomon. All right, so let's get back to it. But multiple sources tell me, this is John Solomon talking, that the FBI soon received information now considered highly classified that undercut the theory of the Papadopoulos case. So yeah, they go into an investigation and they find out, hey, there's nothing there with this Papadopoulos thing about him, having prior knowledge that the Russians have dirt on Hillary Clinton that they're about to release. Nothing going on there. One source described the evidence as indisputably exculpatory, while another said the information put the predicate used to start the case in reversal. Nothing going on with Papadopoulos. Nothing going on whatsoever. Whatever the nature of that classified evidence, the FBI's own account and court records shows agents suddenly seem to lose a sense of urgency about the Papadopoulos allegation. They inexplicably waited about 6 months to interview both the Trump campaign aide and the European professor who allegedly alerted Papadopoulos to the Russian dirt and introduce him to Moscow contacts. Instead, agents more aggressively pivoted to a different set of allegations of Russia-Trump collusion, those gathered by former British MI6 agent Christopher Steele, who at the time was working to dig up dirt on the GOP nominee as part of a fusion GPS project funded by Clinton's campaign and the Democrat National Committee. Okay, got that. So they looked at Papadopoulos and said, nothing there to look at. But hold on, wait a minute. We just can't let that go by like that. We have to come up with something because we got to destroy this guy's run for president. Speaking of Donald Trump, we have to destroy this. Papadopoulos didn't work. Hey, let's move to plan B. Plan A just fell flat on its face. Let's move to plan B. So to plan B, they move. Now they pivot more aggressively to a different set of allegations of Russia-Trump collusion. Those gathered by British MI6 agent Christopher Steele, who's working for Fusion GPS, who puts together this dossier that's funded by Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee. Whew, let's look at the fingerprints here. So, listen to this, referring to Christopher Steele. Steele approached the FBI about the raw intelligence of possible Trump-Russia ties on July 5th, 2016, when he met with an agent he worked previously with in Rome. Whatever transpired there, that first contact was not enough to cause the FBI to start an immediate probe. Then Bruce Ohr, the number 4 DOJ official, intervened according to the newly discovered information. This is in July. But hey, you told Congress, Ohr, you and Chris Steele, that you didn't have anything to do with the probe until after Thanksgiving of November 2016. That's what you said. Ohr's account to Congress and his contemporaneous notes show he had multiple contacts with Steele in July 2016. One occurred just before Steele visited the FBI in Rome, another right after Steele made that contact. So Christopher Steele, he goes and he talks to his FBI contact in the FBI's Rome office. Prior to him doing that, him and Bruce Ohr meet. They're discussing this meeting that Chris Steele is going to have with his FBI contact in Rome. They're discussing that. After Chris Steele meets with the FBI contact in the Rome office, he and Bruce Ohr meet again. This is a debriefing. Hey, man, what you guys talk about? What came of it? July 2016. A third contact between Ohr and Christopher Steele happened on July 30th of 2016. Now, we already know, if you haven't been following this, Bruce Ohr is a back channel for the FBI. He's the conduit between Christopher Steele and the FBI. Christopher Steele is feeding Bruce Ohr information, who turns around and feeds the information to the FBI. Now remember, Bruce Ohr is the number 4 guy in the FBI. Bruce Ohr, Rob Rosenstein, Andrew McCabe, Jim Comey. Okay? Those are the 3 above Bruce Ohr. So these guys above Bruce Ohr, Comey, Rosenstein, McCabe, they're getting information from Bruce Ohr. That information being fed to Bruce Ohr by Christopher Steele. Now, Christopher Steele, he's been let go by the FBI for other reasons. But Ohr stays in contact with him. It's figured that Bruce Ohr had 60 contacts with Christopher Steele. So, feeding this information as it comes out from Christopher Steele, Bruce Ohr is feeding this information back to the FBI. A third contact occurred July 30th, 2016, exactly 1 day before the FBI and counterintelligence official Peter Strzok opened the Trump probe officially. July 30th, a third contact. So, Ohr and Steele meet again on July 30th. Listen to this meeting. Steele met with Ohr and Ohr's wife Nellie in a Washington hotel restaurant for breakfast. At the time, Nellie Ohr and Christopher Steele worked for the same employer, Glenn Simpson's Fusion GPS opposition research firm, and on the same project to uncover Russian dirt on Trump, according to prior testimony to Congress. That prior testimony comes from Bruce Ohr. So here we have Bruce Ohr in contact with Christopher Steele. Also, his wife, Nellie, Bruce Ohr's wife, Nellie. These 2 individuals, Steele and Nellie, they work for Fusion GPS. So all the information, and they work on the same project to get dirt on Trump. Nellie Ohr and Chris Steele, to get dirt on Trump. So whatever they're coming up with, hey, they're feeding to Bruce Ohr, who feeds it to his uppers at the FBI. McCabe, Rosenstein, and Comey. Remember, at the same time, there's an investigation into Hillary's email server thing. And Jim Comey exonerates her of that, but they're still going after Trump. Still going after. Ohr told lawmakers that his wife made about $45,000 for her work at Fusion in 2015 and 2016. And he disclosed to FBI officials that he might have a conflict because his wife worked for the same firm as Steele for a period of time. Might have a conflict, Bruce? No, that is a conflict, Bruce, but everybody overlooked that. That conflict was overlooked. Not only by Ohr, but overlooked by Rosenstein, McCabe, and Comey. Hey, these guys are in the same flea-ridden bed together. They don't care anything about conducting proper investigations. They could care less, because the objective is to get rid of Trump. Keep him from becoming president. That's the objective. Let's go on here. Steele's email asking for the July 30th, 2016 meeting. Remember, this July 30th, 2016 meeting is between him, Christopher Steele, Bruce Ohr, and his wife, Nellie. So Steele's email asking for the July 30th, 2016 breakfast suggested he had information to discuss about a favorite business tycoon GOP investigators believe that could have been a reference to Trump. Yeah. It's Trump, he's out there, he's leading the pack. He's leading the pack. This dude is on fire. He's got momentum going on. His campaigns, his rallies are huge, and they're seeing this stuff. They're seeing people rally around Donald Trump. This is not looking good for them. They're trying to keep him from becoming president, and this guy is on fire. And people are resonating to Donald Trump. They can't have that. Come on, use some common sense here, folks. These folks are up to no good. Ohr has said he thinks the reference may have been to Russian billionaire Oleg Deripaska, a man both he and Steele hoped to flip as a prosecution witness against Trump presidential campaign chairman Paul Manafort. Ooh, these guys are nefarious. Congressional Democrats are more inclined to believe Ohr's description, but the differences in opinion really don't matter. That's because Ohr acknowledged to Congress that the July 30th, 2016 meeting involved a discussion about the allegations Steele had been gathering against Trump and Russia. More significantly, Ohr told Congress the information related by Steele that day so concerned him that it prompted him to reach out to the FBI and pass it along. Well, you've been passing information all along, Ohr. You passed information to the FBI from the meetings you had prior to this July 30th meeting. So that was nothing new there. Let me find my place again. Even though he knew he had a conflict of interest given his wife's work for Fusion on the same project as Christopher Steele. Even though he knew he had a conflict. Not, I might have a conflict. Hey, Ohr, you do have a conflict of interest here. Ohr called then FBI Director Andrew McCabe, or Deputy Director because Comey is the director. So Ohr called then FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe the same day as his Steele breakfast and met with McCabe and FBI lawyer Lisa Page on August 3rd to discuss the concerns about the Russia-Trump collusion that Steele had relayed. Now, this is August 3rd. The official probe had already opened on July 31st. Based on opened up that case on July 31st. That probe was called Operation Hurricane. That probe being officially open was based on the information they were getting from Ohr, who was getting information from Christopher Steele. Ohr disclosed to lawmakers that he made another contact with the FBI on August 15th. Now you got to listen to this. Ohr disclosed to lawmakers that he made another contact with the FBI on August 15th, 2016, talking directly to Peter Strzok. Within a month of Ohr passing along Steele's dirt, the FBI scheduled a follow-up meeting with the British intelligence operative, and the path was laid for the Steele dossier to support a FISA warrant to surveil Trump campaign aide Carter Page. Did you hear that? Now, Christopher Steele is no longer with the FBI. He's been let go. But Bruce Ohr is still in contact with Christopher Steele because Christopher Steele is working for Fusion GPS now. He's the one that puts together this fake dossier. This fake dossier, Jim Comey even called it unverified and salacious, but they use it anyway to go get a FISA warrant so they can surveil short-term campaign worker Carter Page. Wow. These guys are not going to let this go. They don't want to see Trump win this election. So they're trying to take him out, so they cook up this Russia-Trump collusion thing. How Russia is interfering in the election process. Yeah, all countries do that. Hey, Obama did that in Israel when he was over there giving money to Benjamin Netanyahu's opposition. He was over in Britain during the Brexit thing. Obama was over there telling Britain what to do. They don't exit the EU. All he managed to do over there was piss a bunch of folks off because Britain exited the EU anyway. So he was meddling in that. But we didn't hear any outrage over it. So now you cook up this Trump-Russia collusion thing, and you're going to use it to get rid of him so he won't possibly win the presidential election. And you're using Christopher Steele's phony dossier to do that. Now, it didn't work with Papadopoulos. You couldn't get anything, couldn't gain any traction from probing George Papadopoulos. So then you turn around and you pivot to this Russian dossier that's being put together by Christopher Steele. And who's paying Christopher Steele to create this phony dossier? Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee. That should have raised red flags right then and there. But nope. Nope. That, for the FBI, for Jim Comey and Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok and Christopher Steele and Rob Rosenstein. Hey, the fact that Christopher Steele is being paid by the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee, that's insignificant. We can't let those two facts come in and destroy our objective of getting rid of Donald Trump. So we cook up this Russia-Trump collusion thing. Now listen to this. Ohr told Congress he understood Steele's information to be raw and uncorroborated hearsay. That's what he thought. I wonder if he expressed that concern to McCabe and Rosenstein and Comey. I wonder if he expressed that concern that the information that Steele was putting together in this dossier was raw and uncorroborated hearsay. If he did, it didn't matter. If he did not, he was being disingenuous. In either case, let's say he did, and the McCabe et al., they looked at it and said, hey man, we're going to use it anyway because the objective is to get rid of Donald Trump by any means necessary. Goes on to say, he understood Steele's, talking about Ohr, he's telling Congress, hey man, I understood that Steele's information was raw and uncorroborated hearsay, the sort of information that isn't admissible in court. And he told FBI agents that Steele appeared to be motivated by a desperate desire to keep Trump from becoming president. There is now growing evidence that the FBI's sudden pivot from Papadopoulos to Steele was driven by several individuals, all with serious political baggage. Lisa Page and Peter Strzok exchanged text messages about their desire to stop Trump from becoming president. Now, both of them have lost their jobs, Page and Strzok. Steele admitted he was desperate to keep Trump from the presidency. Ohr's wife worked for the firm hired by Clinton to find dirt on Trump. And McCabe's wife was a Democratic candidate in Virginia whose campaign got hundreds of thousands of dollars of electioneering help from Clinton ally and former Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe. Ohr's new account could potentially be explosive. So now, Ohr's telling everybody that Steele's dossier is raw and uncorroborated hearsay, but the FBI in their probe uses the dossier to go get a FISA warrant anyway. I will be so happy if Donald Trump, and there's talk that he's considering doing this, I will be so happy if Donald Trump says, hey, let's declassify these redacted pages that had to do with the FISA warrants. Let's declassify these redacted pages and get them out there to Congress. I'll be so happy to see that happen, because they use this dossier to surveil on Carter Page. Hey, we can't go directly after Trump. We'll just go after people that surrounds him. Carter Page being one of them. A bit player. Ruined this guy's life. Carter Page. Ruined his life. You talk about nefarious stuff. This is nefarious stuff, guys. Yeah, more investigation needs to be done. I believe that if Trump were to declassify these documents, these redacted documents, if he was to declassify that, because the DOJ and the FBI has been fighting the release of this for over a year now, a year better, because they know what it says. They know what that bombshell information is. So they don't want to see these documents to be released in an unredacted form. That just blows them right out of the water. But DJT 45, man, declassify that stuff. Declassify it. Because they've been stonewalling for a long time now. More than 20 pages of FISA documents. Man, these things are still classified. And only a select group of congressional members and investigators have been able to look at these documents. We need to get that stuff declassified. We need to get it done. See, somebody's going to go to prison. And these individuals over in the FBI, they got to be having sleepless nights. I mean, if it were me in a situation, not even close to what this is, and I'm looking at the possibility of jail time, yeah, I'm pretty concerned about that. And you would be too. So they are. And then another thing, there's calls for Bruce Ohr to be investigated a little bit more deeply, not by Congress, but by the Department of Justice this time. Congressman Mark Meadows, a Republican congressman from North Carolina, sent a letter to the Department of Justice back this last Tuesday, not asking, but demanding that Michael Horowitz and Department of Justice Attorney John Huber interview Bruce Ohr. He wasn't asking, he was demanding. So we'll see what comes of that. Because in the letter, it says that Congressman Meadows wants them to demands that they interview and investigate critical violations in connection with the FBI's handling of the Russia investigation and the Bureau's process to obtain a highly secret warrant to spy on short-term volunteer Carter Page for the Trump campaign. So he's wanting Hoover and Michael Horowitz being the Inspector General for the DOJ. Hey, come on, let's get with the program here. Let's sit Bruce Ohr down. Not this time, behind closed doors, a congressional testimony behind closed doors, but the Department of Justice, who can bring charges, criminal charges. You know what's going to happen there is like, Bruce, baby, you know what you're looking at, don't you? Man, we could put you in prison down in Gitmo. Or you can cooperate with us and we'll give you immunity from prosecution. That's what's going to take place. And Bruce Ohr knows it. And so does the rest of these nefarious players in this scheme that they cooked up over 2 years ago to destroy Donald Trump's campaign and then to destroy his presidency. Man, I don't think anything's ever happened like this in the history of this country before. This is unprecedented. They thought they were going to get away with it because they thought and believed that Hillary Clinton would become president. So everything that they did would never ever be revealed because the line mainstream media wasn't going to investigate anything. They were just going to ride that wagon along with everybody else. Can you see and understand now why that line mainstream media has been so critical of Donald Trump? They never wanted him to be elected president. Then after he was elected president, they just turned up the heat on it. Turned up the heat. Man, this is no good for the country. No good for the United States. No good for its citizens whatsoever. These guys need to be reckoned with, and they need to be reckoned with seriously. Maybe some of those new facilities that they have down in Gitmo, maybe some of those facilities are reserved for these guys. This is something like a banana republic coup. This is the United States of America. Free elections. Whoever wins the election for president or dog catcher, that's the result. But for you folks to do everything that you can to destroy the electoral process, to destroy people's freedom to go out and vote for who they want to vote for. And in this case, people voted for Donald Trump. He won the Electoral College. You'll hear people say, well, he didn't win the popular vote. Hey, they had a recount of the popular vote. And as they did that recount, Hillary was losing more votes. So they stopped that process because they didn't want to see the end result of that. That didn't last long. Ooh, man, he's getting more votes now during this recount, and Hillary's losing more votes. Remember that? So that stopped. You folks have done everything you can to take Donald Trump out, to destroy him. Hollywood, that lying mainstream media, the FBI, you've done everything you can, and nothing's worked. And now, you're being exposed. Your nefarious, evil, wicked, and perverse behavior is being exposed. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. I hope this sends a message to people who try this in the future, this is the consequence. This is the consequence. But yeah, they're going to lean on Bruce Ohr, because he was that back channel between Christopher Steele and the FBI. Christopher Steele, he was an FBI informant. He was dismissed by the FBI because he was leaking information to the media. Not only was he leaking information to Bruce Ohr, he was leaking information to that lying mainstream media, and they were running with it. Even after he was released by the FBI, Christopher Steele, Bruce Ohr still had contact with him, still getting information from Christopher Steele and feeding that information over to the FBI. I guess the release of Christopher Steele by the FBI was supposed to be like a smokescreen. Oh, well, he's gone now, so we don't have anything else to do with him. But in the background, Christopher Steele he's still there. Wow. Amazing stuff. It really is amazing stuff. All right. Again, my baby brother is out and about. But, I said, no, I'm not going to let that stop anything. The show must go on. And so here we are. All right. So it's Friday, September 7th. Guys, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. See you back here on Monday, if not sooner. If something pops over the weekend, then we'll possibly get on Saturday or Sunday and talk about it. All right. Go ahead, if you haven't done a like this video. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, you can do so by clicking on that red subscribe button you see at the bottom of the video. And make sure you click that bell also, so you can be notified anytime we put up new videos on our YouTube channel. All right, this is Jay Dyson again. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday, if not sooner. I'm out.